got a perfect guest to start the show today, not only to talk about FTX, but and all that we've learned there in the last 24 hours, the censorship that the FBI has played on social media, but also some new revelations about the vaccine mandate and Ron DeSantis' decision to start a grand jury. Joining us right now, the president of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton, whose group just a few minutes ago released explosive documents showing that there were early signs of problems, skeletal deformities in the testing of the COVID-19 vaccine. We got those documents from the FDA. Compliments of Judicial Watch. Tom, welcome to the show. Some pretty big news here.
It's pretty disturbing to see these records showing these vaccine tests on rodents and the litters of some of the rodents, or significant numbers, and we can go through the percentages, but it's on our website, showed skeletal malformations. And the vaccine companies are saying, well, no big whoop. You know, that's not necessarily tied to the vaccines. Others would suggest otherwise, that this is a warning sign about the safety of the vaccines. The point is, this debate should have been had last year when we first asked for this material, rather than it taking 18 months in a federal lawsuit to get this basic information out about the vaccines. Plus, there's more information in this material about how the RNA material ends up in other parts of the body, which, if you've been following this debate closely, we were assured was not the case when the vaccines were introduced to the public. So, you know, I'm tired of the gamesmanship here. You know, we can debate the safety and efficacy of the vaccines, but that only can take place when we have full information, and we still don't have full information, as we're seeing with this latest drop.
Yeah, amazing.
And something that I would really love to know, and I think our audience would too, is, you know, with all of the questions surrounding COVID, the vaccines, the way that it was handled with lockdowns, mask mandates, all of that, with your story, who stifled it? Because, I mean, was it Anthony Fauci? Was it other players? And I know that you can't necessarily predict, but as far as what you're seeing and the direction it's going, who do you think it was who ultimately made the decision to suppress it?
Well, you know, this is deep state. You know, we think the deep state's Justice Department and the FBI, the CIA, et cetera. No, the deep state we've seen is the CDC, the FDA, NIH, HHS. So these public health agencies have been stalling the release of this basic information about this vaccine. And, you know, I and others have been, you know, Judicial Watch and others have been trying to get this information over their objections, information which typically would have been released more widely by now. But you know, this is the most important medical treatment, arguably, in the history of modern man, these vaccines. And we just finding out basic information about how they were tested and what the results were.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And we're going to learn a lot more, I know, through Judicial Watch's good work and other things. I wanted to get your reaction to Ron DeSantis' decision to seek a grand jury panel in Florida to look at these issues. A lot of people threw up their hands and said, well, we gave everybody immunity in the early law, so nothing could be done. Ron DeSantis doesn't seem to accept that answer. How important is that development in Florida?
Well, it's going to be a big legal question as to whether these companies or anyone else has liability over the misleading information that we've too often have received related to these, what Justice Alito famously called irreversible medical treatments. And did federal law preempt Ron DeSantis or Florida state officials' ability to enforce consumer fraud and other statutes in a way that protects citizens there? That's going to be interesting to see how that turns out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Tom, you know, yeah, I'm out here in California, and I love when I hear that Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch are probing something in California. You had a victory earlier this year pertaining to the corporate board quotas, and now you are seeking documents pertaining to the Paul Pelosi attack, which has seemed to be shrouded in mystery. And then there was a reporter out of San Francisco who was fired from their job for reporting what seemed like transparently. What's the status of that?
The status is we haven't gotten jack. We asked for directions and they told us no. We're still, quote, investigating it. But in cases like this, you typically do get at least some public information out of the police department, videos and such, and we haven't gotten any of it. What was interesting, though, in responding to us, I don't have the wording in front of me exactly, but the police official went out of their way to add information about there were only 2 people in the house or something like that, which is usually not given. Details like that aren't given in response to a FOIA request. So they used, rather than give us the documents, they told us a story, which is interesting in and of itself. But show us the documents, police officials in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's it. Show us the money. That's what we need to see. Tom, one thing we've gotten to see a lot of in the last week, some Twitter files, plus an extraordinary deposition from Elvis Chan, an FBI agent. The extent to which the FBI wasn't censoring Russian disinformation, censoring Russian, actual Americans' opinions. How concerning is it, the stuff that's now into the public realm?
Oh, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. We have confirmation the FBI were monitoring tweets of Americans about election debates and controversies, mail-in votes and such, and asking Twitter, it looks like successfully, to delete tweets of American citizens. The FBI has no business doing this. Every understanding I have is it's illegal for the FBI to be doing this. And I can just imagine, as I've been noting over recent days, just how big a scandal this is. If this is what we're seeing in one company, Twitter, which is the smallest of the big tech companies, can you imagine what they were doing over at Facebook and Google, which owns YouTube? There's a lot to be gotten at here. And kudos to Elon Musk for beginning the disclosure of this massive government, political, and corporate scandal.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and the social media thing is particularly scary. I mean, especially for my generation, because we have grown up in the age of social media. And I don't know if any of us, not just my generation, but any Americans expected to ever see this level of censorship and suppression of free speech. And it seems like the impetus for it was social media. How do we roll it back?
Well, Musk is a good example of you just need leadership from one key person and you can make some significant progress. The question in the media world or the big tech world, are the other companies going to be pressured to do this? Legislatively, I think Congress can perfect Section 230 to make it clear it doesn't allow for political censorship. Or more easily, although the courts are probably been hesitant to do this thus far, properly interpret Section 230 to make it clear it's designed to help companies take off violence from their internet sites or pornography. It's not designed to give them an out to censor people and act as editors of people's thoughts about public policy debates.
Yeah, pretty extraordinary. And according to Musk, more interested in censoring political opinions and stopping child exploitation on the platform. Pretty interesting revelation there.
Yeah.
I want to
or just quickly, we can ban the government from asking big tech companies to take stuff down.
That's right.
We don't even have to debate changing the law.
That's right.
For how big tech companies operate. Just stop the government from censoring us.
So simple. So simple. About 30 seconds left. FTX looks like a big scandal. And what you see is if this man, according to the indictment, really began stealing money right from the beginning, aren't Democrats the ultimate beneficiary of 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million of that?
Well, the public reports are he's the second biggest donor to the Democratic Party. And when you have new money come in large measures like that, you can bet those who are the beneficiaries do due diligence to figure out where the money's coming from. And I would like to know what they found out about where he was getting his money and how he was able to afford all of this. He says he gave money to the Republicans. There's no indication of that. Although the indictment today suggests that he was doing donations through straw donors, which is illegal, basically disguising the donations.
We'll have to watch that. Yeah, Tom, important stuff. We're running up on a commercial break. Folks, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Ben Carson joining us right after the break.